What's up, everyone? Welcome to the March 28th edition of DraftKings Tournament Plays presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, you get one free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum when you sign up and make a deposit at Prize Picks. Be sure to use the code Awesemo to receive a 100% first deposit bonus up to $100. We have a wild 9-game NBA slate tonight. Several teams resting players and or dealing with huge injuries and or dealing with tanking and not even trying to pretend to win games anymore. So there's a lot of value. It's going to be a really high scoring slate, but the nice thing is there's a lot of different good plays that should help keep ownership in check, at least to some extent. As always, be sure to tune in to the deeper dive and live before lock in the 2 hours preceding tip on the Awesemo YouTube channel. For now, we're going to use the boom bust tool on the awesemo.com website to take a look at 5 of the top tournament options on DraftKings, starting at number 5 with Derek White. He's projected for about 10% ownership, with a 16% chance of being in the optimal lineup. White has only played between 20 and 30 minutes without Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown on the floor this season. But going back to the start of last season when he was with San Antonio, White averaged 1.06 DraftKings points per minute without Dejante Murray on the floor. You're going to get a similar situation here where there's no real natural high usage guy left for Boston. You're going to see usage go to Derek White. You're going to see it go to Marcus Smart. You're going to see it go to Peyton Pritchard. But none of those guys are naturally, really high usage guys. So there's no true alpha out there to take the ball away from Derek White. It's likely you see him produce over a fantasy point per minute and play plenty of minutes tonight at a reasonable $5,300 price tag. Number 4, Dejante Murray, projected for 21% ownership with a 24% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Murray is $11,000 taking on the Houston Rockets in a very favorable matchup. Murray has averaged 1.53 DraftKings points per minute without Derek White on the floor this season. He's likely to give you around 35 minutes if tonight's game against Houston is competitive, and it's not going to be difficult at all to find room for him in your lineups because there are a lot of really, really cheap players that look really good tonight. So it's not going to be difficult to find the salary to get up to Murray. Number 3, Nikola Jokic, projected for 25% ownership with a 28% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Similar to Dejante Murray, it's just not going to be very difficult to find the salary for Jokic. His raw points are going to be very useful. There's a lot of very good value options available. And he has a great matchup against the Charlotte Hornets. Denver is the Nuggets are only 4-point favorites on the road, so this game's relatively likely to be competitive. And Jokic has averaged 1.76 DraftKings points per minute so far this season, which easily is the best point per minute average on this slate. Number 2, back to the Celtics, Peyton Pritchard, currently projected for about 17% ownership with a 35% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Now, one thing I will note is that this early in the day, when there's that big of a discrepancy between optimal lineup percentage and ownership percentage, I do expect the ownership to come up at least somewhat because, people are just good at DFS now. They figure this stuff out. It's pretty unlikely that, if Peyton Pritchard is projected to be this under-owned, that's going to last for the next 4 or 5 hours. But he also has pretty far to go before he's over-owned, given that right now his chance of being in the optimal lineup is double that of his ownership projection. Pritchard is only $3,900 on DraftKings with point guard eligibility. Since last year, he's averaged 1.04 DraftKings points per minute without Brown or Tatum on the floor. And number 1, sticking with the Celtics, Marcus Smart, 21% projected ownership, 35% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Same thing applies here, as I said about Pritchard. It's pretty likely that the ownership on Smart comes up a bit, but he's still clearly one of the top options on tonight's slate. Given his likelihood, his chances of having success here, he's only $6,000. He's averaged 1.12 DraftKings points per minute without Tatum or Brown on the floor since the start of last season. He has a 25.9% usage rate and a 30.1% assist percentage in that time. So to recap, the top 5 tournament options on DraftKings as things currently stand: number 5, Derek White; number 4, Dejante Murray; number 3, Nikola Jokic; number 2, Peyton Pritchard; and number 1, Marcus